is that the heat is recovered from that engine in the form of the jacket water, the oil cooling, and the exhaust gas heat. And about 20% of that is used within the process itself for the anaerobic digestion process and for the pasteurization. The rest is exported to the local village, which is about 1 kilometre away, and there's a district heating scheme which links the anaerobic digestion plant with that local village. The local village, they have heat meters and they pay for the heat from this anaerobic digestion plant. And what's really neat about it is that it demonstrates how renewable energy technologies can be complementary. I've mentioned gasification. At that same biogas plant was a wood chip boiler. So in the winter months when it's too cold and the biogas plant cannot provide all that heat for the village, then the heat is topped up by burning wood chip. So it's a really joined up, interesting process. I have to say that we're looking at well, I got this slide up and talk about the renewable heat incentive announcement last week. I'm really disappointed. I know there's intention to do so. I'm really disappointed there's not been enough about district heating. That there's been this cap appears to be 200 kilowatts for the heat output, so there's no certainty about how large anaerobic digestion schemes, whether it be food waste or from farm manures or energy crops, how they're actually going to show that we can use the heat beneficially in the same way that this site in Denmark was doing 15 years ago. If you go across the water, not very far into Sweden, Sweden is in a very different situation, because Sweden already, in its aspiration to become fossil fuel independent, Sweden already produces more than 35% of its electricity from non-fossil sources. So it's producing electricity from nuclear, from biomass and from hydro. Because they also have this district heating culture in Sweden, they are also producing their heat from district heating schemes, from biomass or whatever it is. And so if you look at the 3 legs of energy, electricity, heat and transport, Sweden has identified its transport is their biggest challenge. How to become fossil fuel independent with respect to transport. So if you go to Sweden and see an AD plant, you will almost invariably see a biogas upgrade plant. So those stainless steel vessels on the right of the slide show you the biogas upgrade plant, removing the CO2, the H2S, the hydrosulfide that is, and drying the gas. Then in the background there you can see the blue machines, and that's a compression plant which then compresses that biomethane to 250 bar so that they can run their bus fleets on biomethane. So it's a great feeling. You go to a Swedish city and you see this site, biogas bus. You know, they are running their fleets of buses in cities on biogas. And that gives them 2 additional benefits. One is that biogas buses are much quieter than diesel buses, so that in an urban environment you get the benefit of that. And secondly, you don't get the particulate emissions you get from diesel buses. So in an urban environment, going for biomethane for urban transport, to me, is a must again. And indeed, if you go to Sweden, there's even an example of a biogas train. There is no limit to what biogas can do. And to show you there that the biogas can work in a cold climate, this is a biogas plant in Finland, where again, this is a farmer-built plant, and he's built his own biogas upgrade plant, and he runs now a fleet of vehicles on biomethane. So the local taxis turn up and fill up on the farm from the farm pump. And for those of you who don't speak Finnish, what it says on the back of that vehicle is what we're going to see in future adverts for fuel consumption figures. What it says on the back of there is manure is my fuel, consumption, 0.5 metre cube of manure or 60 kilograms of kitchen waste per 100 kilometres. So that is a sort of fuel consumption figures we should be looking to see in the future. And I just show you this slide of a plant, one of the 7 plants I designed in Scotland, where I'm showing this slide here because the driver, these plants were built, were commissioned by the Scottish government because they were concerned about pollution from farms. They were actually concerned about the quality of bathing waters in southwest Scotland. So they said, if we build biogas plants on farms, does it improve the bathing waters? Yes, it does. So it shows how anaerobic digestion can play a part in water pollution control. And most of the slides of AD plants you've seen so far have been these cylinders. They're cylinders because the cylinder, engineering-wise, is a very efficient shape. But you can get anaerobic digesters of all shapes and sizes. Here's a long one in Switzerland built by a company called Compagas, which is a very good system. And I then showed you this one. I saw this the other day, and I thought it was classic of a different shape of anaerobic digestion plant. This is on a very large dairy farm in Brazil. Now, moving on to the anaerobic digestion of energy crops. We've already heard that this is a sort of controversial subject. And I'll put a simple slide up here, moving along, and say that yes, we know about energy crops requiring rain and sunlight and carbon dioxide, but where the biogas plant is different in this cycle is the digestate. Because the digestate from the biogas plant can go back to grow more energy crop. And so we do not have to be using imported fertiliser for our energy crops when it's within an anaerobic digestion cycle.